Hello, good morning. Welcome to this webinar presented by Audio-Technica. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone can hear me. I hope everyone is not going too mad being stuck indoors. For anyone that doesn't know, I'm Tom Macklin. I'm the area sales manager for the North of England and Scotland. I've worked for Audio-Technica for about 4 years now. We're here today to talk to you about Audio Pro Business, which is a new distribution line for us in the UK, France and Spain. It's very exciting, particularly because it starts with A, and all our favourite brands start with the letter A. But really though, it's a great brand. It's going to fit very nicely with our portfolio and hopefully with a lot of your projects. Just before I hand you over to Logan, who's going to take you through the presentation, just a little bit of housekeeping. Everyone's microphone should be on mute, obviously apart from mine and Logan's. If you do have any questions throughout the webinar, please, if you could write them in the questions box, which should be on your control panel, probably on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will try to go through all of those at the end. Sorry. Yeah, we will go through all of those at the end of the presentation. We will be recording, so if anyone would like a copy of the webinar at the end, again, drop me a line, and as soon as it's ready, I shall send you a link. Other than that, without further ado, I shall pass you over to my esteemed colleague, Logan Helps, who's going to tell you all about Audio Pro Business. Thank you very much.
Hello and good morning, and thank you very much for taking the time to join us to look through this product range. We've been quite excited about it internally. We've been working together with the brand Audio Pro for a couple of months, trying to understand more about their business, for them to understand more about our distribution business, and also our partners, which I think is really important to see where we can kind of add value to this brand, and also how well we can add value to you guys as well. So I really appreciate you spending the time. We're going to go through this presentation, and hopefully that's showing on the screen. Is that showing okay on the screen there?
So I think you just need to start the slideshow, Logan. Yeah, there you go.
Fantastic. So yes, Audio Pro Business, it's from Sweden, and basically they come out of a parent company called Audio Pro AB. They've been around for 40 years, and their main foray into the audio world is a consumer brand called Audio Pro. Audio Pro Business is their commercial arm, and it's actually come out of another brand they had in the past, which you may have come across, called Sonab. So it's actually not their first kind of foray into the commercial audio world, which is fantastic. It means that we've had a lot of time to kind of concentrate on improving the products and understand the real difficulties when bringing hi-fi and Wi-Fi technology into the commercial audio market. So just a quick little bit about Audio Pro, if you don't know much about them. They've got a fantastic range of speakers. They've got plenty of 5-star reviews from What Hi-Fi for a lot of different products. So they really know their stuff, and the products they're designing fit into beautiful homes across the world. Very, very popular now, with a lot of people moving away from kind of the traditional hi-fi side of things and want speakers that look beautiful. And I think it really goes to show the design element and also the aesthetic that this kind of the team behind these brands really want. But we're here to talk about Audio Pro Business, the commercial element. And as you can see, these speakers fit into the real high-end side of things. We've got beautiful installations in a heck of a lot of great places. So here's a nice BMW garage. And can you spot the speakers? Well, this is the interesting thing. Most of the speakers are actually in the lighting rails. And what's great about that is, well, most people don't look at lighting rails. They don't look where the lights are, because guess what? It kind of blinds your eyes. So what really happens when you're putting audio into these kind of places is it really does disappear. The end user does not look for where the audio is coming from, and they look really, really cool. And so with the whole parent company, they've had over 7,000 commercial installations. It's a real impressive stat of how many installs they've actually done. A little kind of good example of this is Konghalla Shopping Centre. I'm pretty sure that's how I would pronounce it in English. I'm not too sure about Swedish. But to give you a great example here, this is quite a new shopping centre that's been built, and 25% of the stores have Audio Pro Business installed. This really is the future of commercial audio using the technology that these guys have put together. And as you can see, it's pretty much 60 odd percent of all the audio systems installed into the shopping centre. Sorry, 30% of all the audio systems. They've worked with amazing brands like BMW, Mercedes, Carphone Warehouse, Shell, Porsche, WH Smith, Scant, Volvo. Read the rest as you like. It's really great to see that the kind of brands that use this technology are really the premium brands in our marketplace. This is the Porsche Center in Helsborg. Got some beautiful images of the speakers installed here. Very, very easy to set up, very quick to install, and they just look great. It's really nice to see them working with places like Porsche. These speakers are a little bit more high-end. We're not looking at the kind of corner shop speakers. Not that there's anything wrong with speakers in corner shops. It's just not quite the marketplace for this brand. And it's all about interference-free wireless solutions. We're using a 1.9 gigahertz spectrum, which is very interesting. Quite different from the 2.4 gig that you'll see for a lot of brands. We're really using a much better quality wireless band to do this. Let's have a quick look at all of the products, and I do mean all of the products because it's a really well thought through range, and we've got every single product perfect for each different application. The first is this little SP1. This is a lovely little plug and play little unit. It's a 2.75 inch driver with a 12 watt D-class amplifier. What's great with all the amplifiers is they're all built into the speakers. Not like a 100-volt system where you have to plan all of the amplification, you've got to plan all the cable runs, all of that stuff. Forget about it. It's nice and simple. We've got a speaker, we've got an amplifier, all built in, ready to go. The main speaker that a lot of installers already use is the SP3. This is a bit of a bigger guy, 4.5 inch driver. It's a two-way, so it also has a tweeter in, and it's got a 2x25 watt D-class amplifier. Beautiful sounding speakers. You can set these up and away you go. They sound great. The third main speaker is the SPW5. This guy is an on-wall style speaker. You can very easily put it onto any wall. Really beautiful in front of this GT3 RS Porsche car in their garage. And it's a very simple little speaker. It doesn't mount flush into a ceiling mount, but it will mount onto ceilings and walls. And again, we've got a 4-inch two-way with a 2x25 watt Class D amp. Very, very nice sounding speaker. But let's take it to the next level. This brand is all about hi-fi quality into commercial space. We're looking for proper high and nice hi-fi sound. This is the Sub 1. It's a 6.5-inch long throw driver, and it sounds beautiful. It's a really, really nice little box. Think about these 100-volt installs that you do with other brands, and think about these situations where you go, oh, I'd just love to have a little active sub. This is it. And then you might think, oh, I don't really want to be able to cable to that sub. It'd be really nice if I could just wirelessly transmit to it. Well, here you go. Very simple to set up into an install. And all you need is the transmitter and one of these, and you've got yourself a wireless sub. And they sound beautiful. When you hear them in the flesh, it really does blow you away how beautiful they sound. And then we've got the Daddy. This is the Sub 3. This is going to an 8-inch long throw with a 100-watt amp. And again, just sounds beautiful. What I really want to see with this brand is, let's take commercial installation to the next level. We want it to look beautiful. We want it to be installed as quickly as we can, but we really, really want to take the sound quality to that next level. I want people to go into these installs and go, this sounds better than my home. This sounds better than my home stereo. This sounds better than being in a club. It wants to sound hi-fi, crisp, clean, high quality with lots of bottom end. The transmitter is a very simple little unit. It really is nice and lightweight, very quick to install. And in terms of the connection, what's really interesting with this is it's on a 3.5mm jack. I'm personally not a huge fan of 3.5mm jack, but it is what it's designed with, and it's just something that's very easy to use in most situations. Depending on where you've got your units to play music back from, you can usually set these up very close to each other. But you've also got a USB to sound card built in. What? A sound card built in? This is very, very cool. So it turns up on a Mac computer straight away, just uses standard drivers, and on a PC, it's the same thing, it'll just download the drivers for it straight away, and you're good to go. What more do you need than a simple, easy solution like a built-in sound card into one of these things? And then we have a Vol1. This is the wireless volume control unit. It's nice and chunky. I really love the design. It's very easy to use, very customer friendly for end users. And basically we've got 6 different volume controls on this, A to F. So you can actually set up a volume control zone straight out of the box. You don't need anything else, very simple to use. So let's talk about what these installs will look like. In a store, a small standard installation will have 4 speakers, 1 little sub, a transmitter wireless unit, and a volume control. And you know, for price-wise, it's not crazy money. We're really looking trade-wise at about £1,400, and for list, including VAT, about £2,500. Now, what's really great is obviously we don't need to think about cables. We don't need to think about the amplification. This is all you would need to set up the system. Really, really simple. And then for a medium style installation, 8 speakers, 2 subs, boom. We're talking £2,600 trade, £4,500 installation, including VAT. It's a really, really cost-effective solution to get proper high-end hi-fi sound into your installs. What's quite interesting as well is this is all on the 1.9 gig spectrum, We'll talk a little bit more about that. But if the installation you are looking at might be a little bit smaller, it might be a little cafe bar, we've got another solution. This is called the A10. This is a beautiful little speaker system. They come as a pair. They come with the wall mount kit, and this is using 2.4 gig. You can do Bluetooth to them. You can use Apple AirPlay. You can use Spotify Connect. Very, very simple to use. Very, very easy to set up. And it just sets up as a pair. You can actually add more onto the system as well if you want. It's a little bit more of a smaller solution for cafe bars and that kind of thing, but they're fantastic little units too. And price-wise, we're really, really pleased to be offering this kind of product. We're great. We have a great opportunity for margin in the brand as well. So what I think is quite interesting with a lot of installation equipment is, as you see it out onto the online market, as you see more and more people selling the products, there's less and less margin involved into the actual offering of the range. This is a little bit more high-end, and there is some savings to be had in other places when you install it. So what's quite kind of cool is you can really make good value, good money on the brand. Let's talk a little bit about design and installation. I'll take another drink. The first thing to obviously be aware of when you're doing installations is, let's do a pre-installation checklist. What areas need to be covered by the music? How loud do we want the audio? Is there lighting track available? And this is quite important. Where should the volume control be? And where can the playback media be placed? All very good questions. And let's talk a little bit more about the global track mount. So basically the type of design these speakers are using is on global track. I'm just going to turn off the presentation. And so this is a global track mount. Now there is other different types of lighting rails available, but the most standard you'll find on the market is the global track style. You can even buy them in IKEA, and yes, I bought these from IKEA a little bit before the lockdown, which was fantastic. But let me show you how quick this is to install. Click it in, flip the switch, and I've got an installed speaker. It's a really interesting little unit to play with. Hey. And what I really like about this is it means a lot of people in retail, a lot of people in different marketplaces like museums or cafes, that can move the speakers around as well after the fact. Very, very simple to do. So that installation time really becomes quite interesting. In effect, if you've already got lighting rails installed, you could be putting this system up within 20 minutes, half an hour, literally. That's just kind of crazy how quick that is to do. And all you have on the actual unit is electronic circuits or poles, and basically on the unit you can flip between pole 1, 2, or 3, and that will control where the speaker is getting its power from. And then obviously the speaker is getting its audio via the wireless transmission. And it's really quick, nice and simple to click in place. If you don't have a lighting rail installed, or a customer doesn't want lighting rails installed, we also have mounting brackets available, which is a secondary item available. Really, really simple to do. You do have to take apart the unit on the speakers, but we'll have some more video content showing you how to do that shortly. But they are there as an option as well. Now, the 1.9 gig transmission is really interesting. It gives you between 20 and 100 meters transmission. That's a big differential in terms of a recommendation. In reality, it depends on the installation. As you know, with anything wireless, it's worth testing in the space if possible. Most of the time when planning out systems, if you plan between 20 and 30 meters for your transmission, you will be in a perfect environment. We'll go through some do's and don'ts slightly shortly. I've set up the system in my home with the transmitter at literally the highest point in my house, in my studio room, and I travel down to the back of my garden, which is maybe a 10-20 meter garden on the other side of the house. Perfect transmission through the walls, through everything. I was really impressed with it, and as we'll see, we'll do some more tests and some more video content as well, showing the transmission distance of this system. But we do want to install this with all of the best tips and tricks. The 1.9 gigs really interesting. So the old Sonab brand that Audio Pro AB used to run was using the 2.4 gig spectrum, which is also a spectrum Audio-Technica use on the Audio System 10 audio wireless microphone. What's quite cool with the 1.9 gig is it's free from any wireless use on laptops and from Wi-Fi hotspots. It's also using a DECT technology, which is kind of similar to some of the newer wireless microphones coming onto the market. And it's just clean and very simple to use, and you just don't get any interactions with other systems. What's also very cool with it is you can also add multiple systems side by side. You can imagine in that shopping center, if 25% of the shops have this system installed, well, you don't want interference, and you can actually cascade multiples of systems side by side with each other, which actually makes it quite a interesting proposition when you're doing multiple zones and when you're doing larger zone systems altogether. So you can cascade systems side by side with each other, and the technology just creates its own little space to work within. In terms of application, up to 100 square meters, you're looking between 1 to 4 speakers. Up to 200 meters squared, you're looking at 5 to 8 with 2 subs. And likewise, as it builds up, you can put more speakers in there. Obviously, that depends upon how loud you want the system to be as well. More speakers, the louder it will be. I'm all about that. To a level, you don't want it to be too noisy. But what's brilliant with this kind of system is you can just add on speakers as you like. You could install a system and someone say, well, actually, we want to make it a bigger system now. Well, guess what? All you need is extra speakers. It's really easy to build bigger systems after the fact. Unlike with a 100-volt system or a low impedance system, all of a sudden you've got to go, have I got spare amps? Have I got the cable in? Blah, blah, blah. Very simple to create bigger systems. So for a one zone, very simple. You'll need one transmitter, one volume control, and the speakers. Can't get more simple than that. And what's very cool is built in, we've got the 6 zones available for volume. Basically, on the back of the speaker, you just move it onto A, B, C, D, or F. And then on your control unit, you've obviously got those buttons to control those different volume zones. This might be if you've got a counter space, you don't want the volume to be as loud there. But maybe at the front of the store, you want it louder, or maybe it's in a bar, and in a bar, you've got it quieter at the bar side, but in the dance area, it might be a little bit louder. A 2-zone system, we need 2 transmitters, we need 2 volumes, and we need 2 sets of speakers, as simple as that. Really, really easy to set up these systems so that you can create 2 different areas, and then you're away. It's very easy to literally just put these side by side with each other. The biggest system we've seen so far, a great installer in the Netherlands, had 6 systems side by side with each other. Very cool. But literally, you just need an extra transmitter. And then obviously, if you wanted more control to do matrixing on the front end, we have the brand Allen and Heath with the AHM, which is the really interesting matrix unit, and we also have the little mixers if you did want a smaller mixer, and even with setting up these systems, you can just put that at the front end of this 2-zone system, or how many zones you may ever imagine. For a large zone, what you can actually do is you can use one volume control and 2 transmitters with 2 sets of speakers, and it's really simple to wire up. You'll have your source into the first transmitter, but guess what? On the back of these speakers, we have a line out, and with that line out, we can then literally send that straight into a new transmitter, and away you go. You've got another transmitter into another area. What's very cool with these speakers is they've all got line inputs and line outputs as well. They're on Phoenix connectors, but we've also got a 3.5 aux out, which you can use. Very, very simple to set up bigger systems this way. Pairing a system, it's pretty simple. Even I can do it. Basically, you just press and hold the pair button for 1 second and it opens the pairing circuit, and that will pair for up to 20 minutes. What's very cool with the pairing system is you could easily do this in your warehouse before you go out to a job, set up all the pairs before you even get to the job, unbox the speakers and start installing them. What is very interesting is nowadays, what can be very important for people is how long are you in that store installing? How long are you in that bar? How long are you in that cafe? And if you can do all your prep beforehand and you can go in there and install it within 10-20 minutes, I mean, it's a whole new different world for that side of things. The labor time, the cost of the labor, the cost of your time prepping these things, it really makes it very quick. If you want to close the pairing system down, hold the button for 4 seconds and it'll close down the pairing. And if you want to reset the speaker or the transmitter entirely, just hold it down for 8 seconds and it will flash and completely reset the unit. Here's some do's and don'ts. Don't put the transmitter under a counter, because guess what? It doesn't work as well. Put it on a wall. Don't put the transmitter behind into a different room. It doesn't work as well. Put it in the actual space. How about don't put the transmitter low down? Look, this guy is looking at the transmitter and he's going, this is in the wrong place. I don't want it there. Put it higher up. Make it above head height. Don't put the transmitter in with a load of cables. It doesn't do too well there. No, we don't want that. Quite interestingly as well, if you've got a lot of electrical cables behind the transmitter, you really want to avoid that too, which is what's shown in that second diagram. Also, don't wrap your power cable around the transmitter. That's not so good. Here's an interesting one. We really want that transmitter placed in the center of all the speakers. That will give you your best coverage for the wireless transmission. But as we know, we're on a 3.5mm or a USB for a sound card, so it can be a little bit awkward. There's a very simple workaround. So if you do need to run a longer audio cable for your audio, we recommend having a little look at this third-party unit. MuxLab has a little it's a transformer built into a unit. You can basically put a Cat5 cable into this unit and it will convert your audio cable onto Cat5. Really, really simple little solution to run longer cable runs if required. Volume control, guess what? We don't want that under the counter either. That's not so good. In another room, no, we want it in the same room. Makes a lot of sense. People need to control it. And this guy's looking down at this wireless controller again. He's not very happy. It's too low down. So just try and aim for that clear line of sight for your volume controller. Speaker-wise, avoid putting the speakers into any metal structure. We really don't want to hide the speakers in metal structures. As you know, with wireless, metal definitely reflects a lot of the power and it can give you multi route interference. And yeah, just try and keep it a clear line of sight. Really straightforward, really simple to do. Here's some bad ones. No, I don't like it. It's above the metal railing. No, it's next to some scissors under a counter. No, it's hidden in the white bit. What's in that basket? A power cable. What's under the power cable? It's the transmitter. That's not a very good place. We want it to look beautiful. We want it to look nice. Very, very simple to set up and a very beautiful to design. So finally, if you are interested in becoming an Audio Pro Business installer, what we're really interested in doing is having information about each installation. This helps for our service, it helps for the support. So every install, just head over to this website, hit Service and Support, go down to your help topic, choose installation, fill in a quick bit of details and a few bits of pieces of images, send it away, and then we've got all of that ready. If you ever get a customer that's unhappy, that's having problems, this is gold dust. This is what we want, all of that extra bits of information. And it's really quick, really easy to do. Do it on site, job done, quick, easy. And that is our beautiful Audio Pro Business presentation. And can we head back to Tom?
Yeah, here I am. Well, thanks for that, Logan. That was really informative. So it's a really exciting brand. We do have a few questions that have come in. Something that you touched on, the input for the transmitter. Could you just reiterate that type of input that is on there?
Yeah, so on the transmitter, I've got one here. We've basically got the 3.5mm mini jack input, and then we also have the DC power input, which can also act as a sound card. So just wire that up to your computer, and that can be used as an input as well.
Is there any Bluetooth input at all?
On the system, there isn't a Bluetooth input, but there is quite a there's hundreds of different Bluetooth inputs you could very easily use with this system. They're something you can buy from a third party. They usually cost around 20 or 30 pounds. And with that, you can just have a Bluetooth input with a mini jack output. Place it obviously in a convenient place, and you could add Bluetooth to this system. However, it's not something that we do with this system, but it would work with one.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. We've got a few questions regarding the lighting track. What if the lighting rail isn't global track? Does that matter?
It does matter, yes. Unfortunately, it really does need to be the global track style light fitting. If you do have a customer with a different lighting track, then it's the wall mounts would be the next best port of call. Or alternatively, if you want to put extra tracks in just for the speakers, that's also an alternative. The global track is definitely the most popular, but as you can imagine, making it fit each different standard is very difficult. But yes, it does matter, and it's definitely one of these things that's worth asking from the get-go. What we have found very successful is if you are actually looking to tout for business, and the first question to find out is what type do they have lighting track, and what type of lighting track, and if they have that, then they're a prime customer to be speaking to about this offering. And if they're on different lighting tracks, then you would need to either look at a different lighting track installation or a wall mount solution. Good question.
Thank you. Are there any additional considerations to be made for the power consumption of the speakers when they're on the lighting track?
Oh, it's a really good question. So a lot of the lighting tracks, in terms of their power, is very high wattage in terms of the requirement for the speakers. So it's not something that we've come across as a problem. What you can actually do is, with lighting tracks, you can actually buy third-party adapters to pull out a standard UK socket out of the lighting rail. So you can use pretty much most power out of them. Of course, it does depend on how that lighting rail is wired up, but in most cases, it really should not be a problem. And actually, I think it's a great question to do some more content on. So I'm going to do a video looking at the lighting rail wiring and how to wire up a lighting rail correctly for using speakers, but it shouldn't be a problem.
Can the transmitters be powered by the lighting track?
Aha. Yeah, well, in effect, if you use a third-party adapter, you could then go onto the UK socket and then wire that up into the transmitter. So in a roundabout way, you can, but in the future, I think it's a great idea for future development, having a global track adapter for it, and it may be something we'll look at the future. But yes, you can in a roundabout way with a third-party unit.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is a simple one. Color of speakers that are available, black and white.
We've got black and we've got white. What more do you want? Yes, black and white.
Fantastic. Just jumping back to the input on the transmitter, someone's just asking for clarification on the mini jack input. Is it a stereo line level input or a balanced input?
It's a worthwhile double checking that. So it's an unbalanced stereo input. A secondary kind of piece of information about that is the system is mono in terms of its internal transmission. So once you've put a stereo input into it, it will sum LR together and create the mono transmission signal from there. But it's an unbalanced stereo input.
Thank you very much. So a couple more questions on power. What powers the volume control, and what powers the A10?
Aha. So the volume control is it comes with its own plug-in USB supply, and it comes over a USB cable, which is a professional thick quality cable, but in effect it plugs into a UK socket. The A10 I actually am not too sure of, so I think that one will be I will have to double check in terms of the actual cable connection, but it definitely has a UK socket at the end of a cable, but I'm not too sure on that, but good question.
Okay, well, we can check that and email across the answer later on. Now, what about latency? Is there any latency issues between speakers in a larger install?
With the 1.9 gig technology, you don't really find much latency issues, but it could be one that I could do some more testing on. With the systems I've tested, the latency it isn't a specified unit, but I have done personal testing with it using computer software, and it's well within kind of 0.3 milliseconds. So it's well within kind of a standard audio system. And obviously we're not using this for vocal production as you would in a studio with a sound card, for example, but actually I tried it in that environment and I could use it as a listening back system while doing vocal recordings. Don't ask me to do the singing, but it was usable. It was very low latency, and I was quite impressed with that. But the distance element to it, I think I'm not too sure on, but we'll do some more testing and find out. I did ask this question to the guys at Audio Pro Business, and in effect, the physical distance latency is listening to a speaker that's 30 meters away is within the same kind of parameter as the wireless transmission.
Cool, thank you. And so same subject with latency. Is it likely to cause any issues if you're linking transmitters together? Now, actually, I think with a secondary transmitter, that comes from a speaker, doesn't it?
It does, yes. So in effect, you will be double transmitting. So there will be some amount of latency, but it certainly shouldn't be anything that will be audible in a user installation.
Okay. Okay. Now this is the last question that is coming. Certainly for now, is there any way to create a multi-source system?
A multi-source system. Yes and no. To create a multi-source system, what you would be looking at is, imagine you have maybe a GR05 or a Matrix system at the front end by Allen Heath or other brands, if there's something that's suitable with multiple inputs, and you could then use a Matrix at the front end of this system. So then you could have multiple transmitters covering multiple areas, but you would need to do that with a third-party unit compared to the Audio Pro Business. So you could do it with any kind of standard Matrix system beforehand.
Cool, thank you. So having said that's the last question, another one has now come in. Fire control. Would an external SDP be required? I'm assuming this is to do with fire regulations and how the system would be muted in the event of a fire alarm.
Yes, it would definitely have to be with a separate unit at the front end to do any fire alarm or to again, you could do paging with an external unit, or you could do any kind of priority ducking or anything like that, but it would have to be with an external unit at the front end.
Sorry, that was a DSP, not an SDP.
Which
makes more sense. Right, fantastic. Any more questions from anybody? If you obviously, if you think of anything afterwards, feel free to contact us directly. If you don't have our direct contact details, you can find us both on LinkedIn fairly easily. We'll just give this another minute or so.
Well, I really appreciate everybody coming to the webinar, and I think what's quite interesting with this range is obviously it's really designed for these lighting rail retail environments, but as we've looked at it more and more, we can see how it can really resolve a lot of difficult little problems and little difficult installations, and we really do see the future of the brand growing growing hugely. It's why we've decided to distribute in the UK, France, and also in Spain. And it's I think it's a really exciting time for retail in terms of, and cafes and bars, in terms of, you know, getting people out and about in the next couple of months. We need these environments to be exciting. We need them to be fun places to be, and we hope that we can be a small part of that, and really appreciate you all joining us on this webinar.
We have just had a couple more questions drop in. One I can actually answer myself. Is stock readily available? Yes, we have stock in the UK ready to ship right now. And a last one on the volume control. So can it be restricted, i.e. can zone 1 control zone 1 and a volume control in zone 2 be controlled separately?
In that regard, no, it's not as, it doesn't have that feature. What you can do is you can pre-set up your zones, i.e. zone A is at a certain volume and zone B is at a certain volume a little bit higher, and then you can lock that down and just have an overall volume control, but multiple zone volumes, it doesn't have that feature.
Could you use more than one volume control in a system?
That's a good question that I'm not entirely sure of, and I'm pretty sure you can, but I do need to double check it.
Right, okay. Any more for any more? No, I think that is just about it for now. So that just leaves us to say thank you again for joining us for this presentation. Hope you, let's say before, hope you're all well, stay safe, stay indoors, find us on LinkedIn if you need any more information. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.